Welcome back to Simbright Fashion Academy YouTube channel for another interesting tutorial. In this class, I'll be teaching you how to make this exaggerated cape you are seeing right there on the thumbnail and on the dress form. So you can see the cape. So I use the Mikado silk fabric. So you need a hard fabric to achieve this effect. So that is the zipper line at the back, and this is how the cape is. So if this is what you want to learn in this class, please stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. So in this class, I'll be teaching you how to make this exaggerated cape dress. So we need our off-shoulder pattern to be able to make this cape dress. So here I have my front pattern piece, and I have the shoulder, we have the chest line, the bust point, the under bust point, and the waist line. That is for the front. So now we want to create this off shoulder. So the first thing I'm going to do is to divide my shoulder seam line. So once I divide it, I get the midpoint, and there I'm going to connect the midpoint to the bust point. So once I've connected to the bust point, I love to take my bust radius. My bust radius is the difference from bust point to under bust. So whatever figure you have, for me I have 3.5 here, so I'll just go round with the 3.5 all around this way. So on this line of this off shoulder, so for this off shoulder dress, if I place that my bust radius, this is where the bust is going to be. So and this is the chest line. So I would love to, because this dress is actually off, I want to come up by 1.5. Then when I come up by 1.5, I'm going to connect this 1.5 inches straight. Can you see? So that is what I have as the neckline. I'm connecting it to the mid armhole, because this is actually, the dress is actually off. Okay, so you can see the bust area. So if you don't want to expose your bust, you can come up by 2 inches and come up by 1 inch, okay, on the shoulder line. But for the purpose of what we have on the thumbnail, I'm recreating exactly what we have on the thumbnail, and that is how it's going to sit on the body. So I came up by 1.5 from the chest line, you can see that, and I connected it to the mid armhole. So the next thing I want to do now is to create my over bust from this line, 0.75 from here, 0.75. So once I've done that, I'll do what? I'll just go ahead and connect. So I'll connect for my over bust. So right here, there's no replacement of any dart. The reason is because for off shoulders, we have a calculation, okay? For normal off shoulder, if you are not making use of a dart, you make use of the calculation, or the formula for off shoulder is your shoulder, your full shoulder. My shoulder is 15. Divide your shoulder, divide by 2. So I have 15 divided by 2, and it gives me 7.5, which is my half shoulder. So this half shoulder minus 1.5, that is the formula for off shoulder. Your half of your shoulder minus 1.5, whatever it gives you, 5.5. If I'm not making use of this dart right now, I'll just go ahead and measure from the center front. I'll measure it straight on this and mark my 5.5 and connect. But because I have a dart already, and this dart is running to the armhole, normally if it's not an off shoulder, we are going to replace this dart. But because it's an off shoulder and we have a deduction of 1.5 already, which this dart has helped us to deduct, so we will not we are not going to replace it. So if you don't understand my explanation, just simply draft your off shoulder, put your dart, no replacement, and reconnect your armhole for off shoulders. Armholes for off shoulders usually go this way. Can you see? It's not deep, it comes out. So that becomes what we have for the over bust. So the next is the under bust. We have a detailed video on how to contour your under bust appropriately on this channel. You can click on it to check it out. So from the center front now, my under bust measurement circumference divided by 4 is 8.75, and what I have from here to here is 1.25. So I'll put 0.25, which is a quarter, and the rest of 1 inch. Can you see that? All right, so now I'll go ahead and do this and do that. Then I'll connect back to this point and back to this point. So that becomes my front. So we'll go back to the back. So I think this back will help us explain this calculation better. So on the back dress now, I have my bust circumference divided by 410, my waist circumference divided by 4.9. So now it depends on how deep you want your back to be also. So from here, okay, before I do that, I would like to contour my back. From the center front, I'm contouring by 0.75. So once I contour by 0.75, I'll quickly connect this way from this contour line, because I'm cutting this part off for a perfect fit. So from this contour line, I'll just go ahead and measure my actual waist. So this is my actual waist at 9 inches, and from this point I measure my actual bust at 10 inches. So I'll go ahead and do what, and connect what I have from here to here. So that becomes it. So before we create the neckline for back, remember we connected to the mid armhole, so I'll also connect to my mid armhole. So in connecting this, I might decide to come from the chest line by 1.5 as I did for the front as well. You can also decide to have it come a little up, but I'll just, because we are connecting here, so it's fine using what you have for the back for the front. So now this is the calculation we made mention of. Shoulder divide by 2, that is divided by 2, that's what we have, minus 1.5. So I'll place my 5.5, which is the result. So whatever result you have, just simply place it. You can see how I placed it. I'm placing it straight to touch what I have on the neckline. So no matter how the neckline goes, just keep your ruler straight, tape measure straight, and mark that figure on the line. So once I've marked this on this line, I'll position my ruler this way and reconnect my off shoulder armhole. So next is to cut out what we have on the pattern right away, because we are done right now. So in cutting this pattern, I'll cut the back piece. So I'm not using any dart for the back, that's why there is no dart here. So I'm cutting mine, then I'll cut through here. Once I get to this point, I'll do this, I'll take it to this part. Can you see? So this becomes the back, and this is the center back where we have our zip. So I'll set it aside. That is the back pattern for this off shoulder cape dress. Then I'll go ahead then I'll just go ahead and do this. Cut through the center front. So this is how I cut for this section. Then take off the dart before I close up my bust dart. Can you see? So we take off this, but before we close our bust dart, okay, I will do this after closing my bust dart. So this is the pattern. I'll go ahead and cut. apply my adhesive, as you can see. Close up my bust dart. So once I've closed my bust dart, as you can see, next I'll match up my lines to be sure these lines are matching up. So we do this a lot in our tutorials on this channel. So when you have a shortage like this, and if it's not replaced, you might find it a little bit difficult. So this is what I do. I put in a little pepper on this line. As I match up the chest line, I put in a little pepper. So once I've done that, I'll just go ahead and do this. Can you see? So I do what? I fill up that gap. I fill that gap up. Okay? So it automatically serves as my replacement before I cut. Alright, so that is it. And we are done with this pattern. So this center front will be on full. So I'll quickly transfer what I have on paper now before we start creating the... Alright, so for the off shoulder right now, we need to do a little calculation to get the strap that we'll use to hold our cape appropriately. So to do that, you are supposed to take your round shoulder. So my round shoulder for my off shoulder is 40. Note that we are working with 5.5 on a quarter of the bodice. That means that 5.5, I'll multiply 5.5 by 4. Here I have 22 inches. So this 40 is a round. 22 is only for the bodice. I will take it away from it. I have 18. So I'm working with a quarter of my strap now. That is divided by 4. So if I divide this by 4, I will be left with 4.5 as one of my strap. So I'll just simply, place my pepper on fold. Let me just place my pepper on fold. Or if you want, you cannot also, you might leave it without folding it. So I want to create my strap right now. So to create my strap, I'll simply create a strap of 2 inches. 2 inches. So since it's on fold, I'll do this. And I'll measure my 4.5. That becomes my strap for this off shoulder. So this strap, I'll just go ahead and mark 4 inches. 4 inches. Okay. So I'll mark on the top of the strap the 4 inches. Then I will now come out a little bit by 4.75. okay, by 0.75, that is 3/4. So if I come out by 3/4, because the armhole, you can see how the armhole is, you can see it's not straight. Or another thing you can also do, you can just place it this way. This is where the strap is supposed to start from. So you can just do something like this. Can you see what I did? So when attaching this strap, you don't have issues attaching it. But from here, which is the upper part of it, must be that 4 inches. It must be at 4 inches. So I'll now go ahead and cut out. So I'm cutting out this way. Can you see? So straps are not usually straight. That is what I'm trying to explain, because we are going to attach this. This is the upper part of it. When you attach it, you can see it's not straight. Can you see? If you keep it straight, it will not relax. If you cut it at 4.5, it will not relax. So you have to come out from the 4 inches by 0.75. So you have your strap relaxed for you. Can you see? So that is how the strap is going to look like by the time we attach it. So by the time you place it, you run your cape. Of course, you see how it goes. So we have our strap. I'm going to transfer everything now on fabric, then I'll show you how to sew the cape. Cutting out my patterns right now, so I'm going to sew, join front and back together. That is front dress and back and lining. That's what I mean. So I'll make notches on my under bust point, because I'm going to join this immediately to form the bustier before the cape. Then I'll join the back to the front as well. Okay, this is our strap, so I'm going to join the strap too this way. So I'll just show you how to go about it. Then if you look at what I have on the strap, I left this part open, so I'll just go ahead and stitch the strap and turn to the right side before I attach on this. So let us take it one after the other. So I'll take off my patterns now. This is my front pattern. I'll match them together. This is on fold. I have lining and I have 4 pieces lining. So I just pick up the front dress now. I'm going to sew them together. I'll also do the same for this. Alright, so now I'm done sewing the bustier. So I'm not actually making a bustier dress here, so that's why I did not pad. So when you are done sewing, because this part is more curvier than here, you will have something looking like this. So once you have something like this, just blend it up to the neckline. It does not affect anything at all. So you just from this armhole and do what? And blend it out. So once you blend it out, you have everything this way. So now I'll still do the same for the lining. So this is what I'm going to do. I'll pick up my strap. I have 2 of my straps here. So I'll just go ahead and sew this strap. I'm going to sew and turn, so I'm done sewing right now. So the next thing I will do is to turn my strap to the front parts. So I'm going to turn the both of them right now. Alright, so now I'm done turning the straps. So this is the upper piece of the strap and this is the down. So I have 2 of them which I turned right now. So I'll bring back the back bodies. So for the back bodies now, I'll pick up the fabric part first. So this is the part of the back bodies that should be connected to this. So I simply go ahead and sew. Remember the upper part that is on fold, you sew it to this part, while this will be sewn this way. So I'll go back to the machine now. I'll sew my strap. I'll also sew this to this, so it forms that full strap. So I just used one of these to show you how to sew this cape. Okay, just one side of the cape. Alright, so I decided to attach the both straps. Okay, so I've attached the both straps. So this is supposed to be the back, but before that we need to measure the cape. So for this particular cape we are sewing now, this is the midpoint of our center front. So if you want this cape to run from this center front to this is my zipper allowance, you measure everything this way till we'll get there. But I noticed that the cape did not start exactly at the center front. It started like 1 inch off the center front. So this is 1 inch off the center front. So my cape measurement now, I'm going to start it up from the 1 inch and I'll measure the neckline. As you can see, I'll measure it up to this point and I have about 20 3/4. So I'm going to cut 20 3/4 of the cape, adding 1 inch seam allowance for both sides. So I'm cutting 21 3/4, or I can make it 22 inches or in length. Okay, so this cape we have here is going to have a width, that is the length 17 inches. So if you want it a little more exaggerated, you can increase the length, but the width is the 22 inches, 22 3/4. So I added 1 more inch, that's 23 3/4, which we just measured on the neckline. So I'll put it on fold, as you can see. So once I put it on fold, this will serve as the neckline. Then we'll just go ahead and blend it, give it a little shape. Okay, so let me keep it this way. So we'll give it a little shape. So you have to be creative with it. Just somewhere a little here, we'll just make this kind of shape, as you can see on the thumbnail. So this is going to serve as the base of this cape. So once I open it up now, this is what you have, something like this. So we have this attached to the center, from center front to the center front. Okay, so starting up from where I marked, we are going to sew in this cape. Alright, so this is what the fabric looks like after it has been cut. Can you see? So now the next thing I'm going to do is to bring a squared fabric. You remember that the length for this is 17. So I will multiply the length for the one on top. I'm going to multiply it by 1.5. That is 17 inches. 1.5. That is 17 times 1.5. So if I multiply 17 by 1.5 on the length of this, I'll have about 24.5. So this 24.5, I'll bring back this one. It has to be the same length. It has to be the same length. So I'll just trim off the same width. Okay. So this is what I will do. I'll match the under part. Can you see the under part? I'll just match the under part and shaping it to the shape of the cape. So it has to be equal. So the upper cape, this is what we have on the upper cape. So the one on top will be bigger by ½ an inch. Okay, that was the essence of multiplying by 1.5. So this is the essence we have. So I'm going to stay the both fabric right now. So you can use your hair stay to achieve this standing effect. So let me stay it right away. So I will advise you to use a hair stay, okay, to achieve this standing effect. So now the next thing I will do, you can see that this is longer. So I'm placing them right side to right side. So this is very much longer. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to turn it this way. Then I'll start from here to pleat. So I'm going to pleat and pleat and pleat. So as I'm sewing, I'll be checking when the upper part matches up. So I will sew round. Once I get to this point too, I'll also pleat in before we attach the cape. Alright, so you can see I've pleated the cape on this side and I've pleated it on this side. This is what I have as the shape. I left here open to turn, so I'll turn it around now. So right now you can see I left here open, so I'll just go ahead and stitch it close, or I can just decide to sew this. Like I said, I'm making this for only one cape, one part of the cape, so I might decide to sew on this part. Let me just sew on this part of the cape. So I'll just put it together, go over to my machine, and I'll sew this from end to end. Let me do that. So I've attached it from that 1 inch to the zipper allowance. So this is what it looks like with the strap. So the next thing I will do is to come in with the front, the lining. I need to cover it with the lining and top stitch. So I'm going to pin the lining up to this point, but before I do that, I will advise you cut out another pieces of strap that will act like just like we joined this strap. Just cut out another single piece that will act as a facing. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and sew this, or if you don't want, you can sew this. If you want to take it another way, you can sew this to this, sew this to this, then you can decide to pipe this part, but I will advise you cut out another facing and tack on it. Okay, so that will give you a better result. So let me quickly sew this and this together now. So I've attached the lining and the fabric, as you can see. So like I said, you can get a facing which you sew on the lining first to cover up this part. So I'm going to join right side to right side, the sides. I'm going to join the sides right now, and we'll have the armhole. We are done right now. So this is the lining part and this is the armhole. So if you have you can decide to use a bias to hold this part. Just run around a bias strip to make it neat together this way. Okay, so this is the cape, which is the main purpose of this tutorial. So you also do the same thing we did here to this other part. So I've closed up the sides. So next is to attach the zipper. Okay, so the cape will be come this way and the zipper will run here. So thank you very much for coming to this tutorial, and I believe this class was helpful to you. So if you are new to this channel, please kindly subscribe, turn on your notification bell to receive videos like this every day. Like this video, share to family and friends, drop your comment on the comment section and your suggestions as well. Thank you for coming. See you in the next class. Bye.